Scott, that's wellfire.com. Final Days Report, episode 202. Zelinskyy and BlackRock supposedly are going to be sitting down at the World Economic Forum meeting coming up and discussing loans and a reconstruction plan. It just reminds me of the old model: burn it all down, destroy it, and then give inside contracts to build it back up. What will that look like? How will the people be enslaved? And is this reconstruction model an enslavement for the rest of us after World War III? This is a deep one, my friends. Plus, we're going to get into other end of days news, have some beast system artificial intelligence in the news that blew me away. But early days in this ministry, I did a podcast, Illusion of Choice, Sheep to the Slaughter, and I looked at different industries on how just a few companies really have dominant market share. So for example, if you go into a grocery store, you see all these brands. These brands are basically managed by mega CPG companies, consumer goods companies. And it's very difficult for mom and pops, for example, to get slotting in these major corporations. They'll have to pay slotting allowances. They have to be very, very well funded. And if they're successful, if they have a very, very unique product, oftentimes they sell out to these consumer packaged good conglomerates. It's just how it goes. So that's why we need to actually think local. We need to go to farmers markets. We need to actually be a rebel and plant a garden. Support your local business, even though it might cost you more. But within this podcast, and I'll put the link below to Delusion of Choice, Sheep to the Slaughter, how things are just controlled. We think there's competition, but there really is not here in the States and around the world. I did not talk about the investors, the shareholders that really run and control the board of directors that then actually put in the management team to do the bidding of the elite. I never covered this. And so it's even deeper. So let's read this article. If you've been wondering how the world economy has been hijacked by humanity, look no further than the video by a Dutch creator, The COVID Lie. What she uncovers is that the stock of the world's largest corporations are owned by the same institutional investors. So if they have the majority or a very, very prominent stock share position, they control the board. They own each other. This means the competing brands like Coke and Pepsi aren't really competitors at all, since their stock is owned by exactly the same investment companies, investment funds, insurance companies, banks, and in some cases, governments. This is the case across all industries. As she says, the small investors are owned by large investors, those who are owned by even bigger investors. The visible top of this pyramid shows only two companies whose names we often have seen. They are Vanguard and BlackRock. The power of these two companies is beyond your imagination. So keep that in mind. Two companies, really, my understanding, have trillions in assets. So again, I'm going to leave the link below. Delusion of Choice, Sheep to the Slaughter. And this goes across everything: education, your search engine, everything. But here's the headline article. Breaking: Zelinskyy announces he is planning to join World Economic Forum in Davos to sign new post-war loans with BlackRock. Vladimir Zelinskyy and Larry Fink agree to focus in the near term on coordinating the efforts of all potential investors and participants in the reconstruction of our country, channeling investments into the most relevant and impactful sectors of the Ukrainian economy, the Post said. Zelinskyy, this is another article headline, Zelinskyy, the puppet of the World Economic Forum. So again, that's why I think a lot of this is just theater. But here's where it gets wild, and here's the model that I think they're going to bring forward to everyone. Everyone's going to have to take the mark of the beast to be able to buy or sell, right? So this is a model. Ukraine has become the first country with the EID that is totally valid and can be used everywhere. Being undoubtedly a unique case, it is another success story for Ukraine to become a paperless country soon. Ukraine 2030 vision, cashless digital society with e-health systems and monitoring. Terrifying. I mean, this is evil. Burn it down, build it up. I guarantee you they're going to build it up with a massive surveillance state like we've never seen before. A smart city that is really an enslavement city. You can smell the playbook, my friends. You can smell it. And this technology is taken off in China. If you're just listening, I watched a video and I'm showing a picture of somebody with their cell phone, and this is a vaccine passport. He ends up sticking his cell phone outside of his window and it changes colors. I mean, the technology is that good. It can tell if you're inches outside where you're not supposed to be. It is creepy, my friends. I actually posted the video on my Telegram channel. You can search for it at SJ Wellfire. And then pay with your face. I thought this was an interesting video. Let's roll it.
2, 3,
Chinese student is at school with screen. Takes a snapshot.
looking at a crowded street, listening to my own heartbeat.
Touches with your finger. Boop, paid. And if you follow our channel, we did a podcast, a Vcast of MasterCard. Who's your master? MasterCard actually working with D-Wave quantum computers. And again, D-Wave quantum computers or quantum computers as a whole is the fake omnipresent God that will run artificial intelligence. That's this fourth beast system rising. This creepy article. In a historic first, an AI-powered robot will defend a human in U.S. court. I remember years ago, I read an article, and I sent it to our legal counsel in the corporation I worked for, that AI actually reviewed a contract and was more accurate than 10 Harvard lawyers. And the lawyer was like, uh-oh, kind of joking around. But if you just have to regurgitate case law, it's interesting. And then how is this AI going to be programmed? This is enslavement, my friends. And again, Klaus Schwab with his book said, we're going to know your thoughts to actually come over to another country. We're going to actually scan your brain for thought crimes. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. They're allowing the borders to be wide open, but then they're going to scan your brain for thought crime. I mean, what a joke. And then here's where it gets interesting. Man wrongly jailed by facial recognition, lawyer claims. There's been like 3 or 4 cases. So this technology is not absolute. There's going to be a major business model of, and they have it already, of clothes that absorbs this 5G, 6G penetrating radiation, penetrating technology that boils water, destroys oxygen, and then also technology to eliminate facial recognition. Privacy is going to be key, my friends. But again, this is a Watchman ministry. We try to tie back the news to the end of days. They need war to bring in the Antichrist beast system, to finalize it, to put the nail on the head, to bring in the Antichrist for peace. So let's read. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travaileth upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. To me, this is seal 4 that they're priming. They always need to test things, right? Here's why I don't follow and report on federal news in terms of politics. I think it's theater. It's the right-left paradigm. I think it's very important to get involved on a local basis. A pastor that I listen to sometimes ran for governor. The Lord moved him to do that. So get on your hands and knees and pray of what's your role in these times that we're living in. But from the Gateway Pundit, breaking Brunson Brothers case denied by Supreme Court. I mean, good night. Why? Come on. And this is regards to the 2020 election. What came as a shock to the 4 brothers is when they discovered that 387 members of Congress, along with VP Mike Pence, actually voted against the proposed investigation, thus thwarting the investigation. What now became the concern was when those members of Congress violated their sworn oath by voting to thwart the investigation. The country's gone, my friends, and this is a corporation. It's a corporation, my friends. So some political thoughts as well. This whole false flag of January 6th, they're just watch out for another one to happen and them really going after the right to actually peacefully protest. Our First Amendment is just getting infringed upon big time. And I was thinking about the Speaker of the House debacle. Really, to me, this screams psyop as well. It's about labeling far-right conservatives and Christians and to disband our republic. It has the markings of a psyop, my friends. Fox News, insurrectionists, saboteurs, can't let the terrorists win. Just because they didn't want to elect a Speaker of the House that has some really deep state ties. And then I'm reading the headlines. Republicans' dysfunction over Speaker threatens the health of the U.S. government. This screams psyop to me. This screams divide and conquer. Everything's about divide and conquer. Folks, everything. All the way down to even parties. And then when some people do good, it gets hijacked. So a bit of a wild one. Let's summarize. Delusion of choice, sheep to the slaughter. Check out that podcast. I'll put the link below. And that's just from a market share perspective. And even though I was awake to it, again, I was actually researching advertising companies. I'm like, wait a minute. There are all these advertising companies I'm trying to actually have pitch my business all work for the same company, the same parent company. I was like, is there anybody independent out here? When you roll up and peel back the onion, a lot of industries have, with a select few of companies, have 30, 40, 50% market share depending upon the industry. I think Google has a 87, 92% domination of the search share. I find myself going to web crawler. Free Spoke is okay at times. Yandex. Find other search engines, my friends, for sure. In education, I mean, I thought it was a pretty powerful VCast, but I didn't even cover who owns the majority of the shares that then control the boards. It's deeper. It's deeper than the delusion of choice that I talked about. And then you think about BlackRock. I think it's a model: destroy it all, burn it all down, bring in the new. And this will be that ID 2020 that we talked about with the World Economic Forum, where you need your biometrics just to get online, to bank. For healthcare, this beast system is deep. It is deep, my friends. We're going to need manna type miracles. Because again, I don't think we're going to be raptured out of here. I think we're going to be here the entire 7 years. And I talk about that often. You need to prepare that you're going to have to really live by faith and have some major miracles to get through this. And if it's our time, it's our time. Do not fret. Be at peace. So thank you for your support. God bless. And again, our ministry's strategy is to save souls via the news. The world is Satan's empire, and he has come to kill, steal, and destroy with fear and deception. Fear is one of his greatest playbooks. FDR, Final Days Report, cuts through the psyop to equip the saints and save souls so you can rest without fear in your eternal salvation. So God bless. Bookmark our site. Sign up for our newsletter. Have a blessed day.